afternoon. Can everyone hear me? All good? So as our MCs just said, we're going to be speaking about the topic, are we getting closer to a circular economy, or are we just running around in circles? We're going to try and touch on three different themes. One is sustainability. Two is tech and AI and the role it plays. And three is corporate culture and the importance and role of culture in business transformations. We have an incredible panel of speakers that screams diversity in terms of the businesses they're involved in and the scale of these businesses. So first we have Phoebe Leung in the middle from a Hong Kong corporate giant in Swire Properties. We have Olivier Kuziner from Equimetrics, a data and AI-powered solutions company in scale-up mode. And we have Naman Tekriwal from Beer, a local startup from Bria Beer,
yeah.
Bria Beer, a local startup in the beverage market driving circularity. A massive thank you to Phoebe, Olivier, and Naman for joining us, and to Yamilet, Pauline, and all the organizers of today's event, and to all of you for joining us. Before we go any further, I'm going to ask maybe to start with Phoebe to give us a brief introduction of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Phoebe from Swire Properties. So we are a developer of mixed-use developments in Hong Kong and Chinese mainland. We also have a small footprint in the USA and also Southeast Asia. So I come from the corporate sustainability team, and we have to design and implement the sustainable development strategy of the company. And specifically for myself, I work a lot on stakeholder engagements, including our tenants, our employees, as well as circular economy, digital transformation, and sustainability communications. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you, Phoebe. Olivier?
Hi, everyone. So my name is Olivier. I'm the managing partner of Equimetrics. So I've been in Hong Kong for the last 10 years. So I call Hong Kong home. And so what are we doing at Equimetrics? We are, as Rasheed said, we are an AI company. We build AI solutions in different areas. One of these areas is sustainability. So we have a so-called offer AI for sustainability. So I think glad we're going to bring a tech discussion today. In a space of ESG, I mean, it's something which is very important for us. We are a purpose-driven organization, and we're going to go for B Corp as well as certification for those who know that. So I think something really rooted into the company. So happy to be here with you and glad for the conversation.
Thank you, Olivier. Naman?
Thank you. And apart from these two who are from Giants, I'm a young baby on the panel. Just turned 23 a month ago. But hello, everyone. My name is Naman, and I was born and raised in India before I came to Hong Kong for university at HKUST, where in my first year I started this company called Breer, where what we do is that we collect surplus bread, like the bread which is supposed to go to waste in Hong Kong. We collect it, and then we upcycle it to make local premium craft beer. So over the last 4 years, we have obviously scaled the company, and today we sell in over 400 stores in Hong Kong. And the problem we really try to solve is waste is not waste until you waste it. So we really try to promote sustainable drinking and give people an alternative to otherwise drinking beer, where you're anyway going to drink beer, so might as well have a sustainable choice and alternative.
So a true circularity business. And
you can say that.
You said 400 stores, but you just told me that you launched some new stores yesterday. Maybe you can share that with the audience.
Sure. Thank you for this opportunity. But yesterday was the biggest day in our company's history because we went live in all 7-Eleven stores yesterday, which is 787 stores, namely, where we will be collaborating with the Maxims group as well as the 7-Eleven group, where the surplus bread will be coming from Maxims, and then the coffee grounds will be coming from 7 cafes. And we will be making a coffee stout, which will be selling in all 7-Eleven stores starting this week.
And ladies and gentlemen, I'm Rasheed Shroff, founder and owner of Banyan Workspace in Quarry Bay. I'm passionate about people and culture, organizational transformations, and doing business the right way, and responsibly for the community, so that business that benefits from the community should be giving back to the community. That's something I believe passionately in. And of course, that includes sustainability. So, are we getting closer to a circular economy, or are we just running around in circles? What I wanted to start with is where we are now. What does sustainability mean to you and your organization? And what do you think it means to business in general in Hong Kong? And where are we now? Maybe Phoebe, we can start with you.
Sure. So at Swire Properties, we are a developer, right? So we have a sustainable development strategy called SD 2030 strategy. And in this strategy, we have 5 main pillars or topics that we work on in sustainable development. At the center of it is sustainable placemaking. So we want to make a place, our developments, as a sustainable and vibrant place that creates long-term value for all the people who are living, working, and enjoying that space. We also have a pillar on people, so our people, as well as our partners, so our suppliers, as well as our tenants who are using our buildings. And together, joining forces with our people and our partners, we want to develop environmental and performance as well as economic performance for our shareholders. So that's how we frame our sustainability strategy right now. And it involves around 40 different KPIs for 2025 and 2030. And we have various governance structures around it as a big company, including oversight from our board of directors. I think why, for the development industry, real estate industry, answering your question, a lot of developers are catching up with sustainability. And because there's also a big demand from our tenants looking for climate resilience and energy efficient buildings. And they're not only looking for a hardware, they're also looking at the software. How can the landlord support them, provide them advice and programs to help them to advance their own sustainability agenda? So I think that is kind of the current status of the real estate industry.
One thing I take away from your answer is that you have a huge number of stakeholders from your board of directors to your internal teams to your tenants, your customers. Must get complicated.
Yes, it's very complicated and a lot of internal stakeholders and big and small battles to fight to advance the sustainability agenda, definitely.
Okay. And Olivier, from your side?
Sure. Sustainability, I mean, for us, I said we are a purpose-driven organization, so it's been on a part of the top of the agenda for the last few years. Last year, we had this, we anchored in our status to be purpose-driven, so to make sure sustainability is part of everything we do. So I think it's, we're going to talk about transformation, but I think we really place now sustainability pretty much in everything we're doing. So something really important. So internally, as well, how we deliver for our clients. So we have not 5 or 3 pillars, which is our own ESG and CSR commitment. What we do for our people, so I heard people, which is good, and as well, how we drive impact for our clients. I mean, we are an organization of 500 people, but we know that our impact on sustainability is limited. If it's just on ourselves, it's just 500 people. So how can we bring tech, how we can bring AI for greater good? So we want to work with the Swire, we want to work with organization of 100,000, 200,000 people, whatever the number, to make sure that we can make an impact. So I think that's really what is sustainability for us.
And one thing I know about Equimetrics is that even every new employee that comes in, you take them through a sustainability onboarding, which I find really interesting. It's not something that you hear about very often.
Exactly. So I mean, part of the curriculum when you join the company, to be consistent, what we call to be across the organization. So we have this training, which is mandatory as whatever the other process. So we work on the climate risk. So if you don't know, please reach out to Rasheed and Charlotte. They are great trainer on that, which raise awareness of what is the climate change and how complex it is. And I think it's a great tool to raise awareness. We use as well the AXA Climate School. If you don't know that, I think it's quite interesting platform as well, where you have short videos and short training where you can train people, and you have certification on that. And we do a lot of work in terms of as well diversity and inclusion. So it's really part of day one. And as well, something I will touch upon later, but it's one of our KPI. So today, at the same level as profit, we have sustainability, which how we measure that is carbon emissions. Today, every staff, from leadership to any employee, is incentivized to make a change and to have an impact on sustainability. So how we are consistent into that.
It's amazing to hear how embedded it is in the culture. Naman, from your side?
I think sustainability, like for these organizations, sustainability can be a part. But for us, sustainability is the company. Because sustainability is really at the ethos of what we do at Breer. And you know, we started this company for people who are in our generation, in our age, because we view sustainability as a word reversed, which is, it is the Gen Z and the millennials which have the ability to sustain. Like, we are the generation which will have to make, you know, measures and actions to be able for this world to go towards sustainable development. So at Breer, you know, everything is about sustainability, not only the products, which obviously are sustainable, but our entire value chain is optimized to be sustainable. So be it our labels, which are soy-based ink labels compared to, you know, the normal labels, be it our cans, which is recycled aluminum compared to normal aluminum. And this is all cost. And for a young company like us, it's heavy cost. But then, you know, many times we're given the opportunities of, you know, doing the trade-off that, oh, you're anyway a sustainability brand now, and, you know, people know you for bread beer, might as well stop using bread, might as well stop using the sustainable practices. But that defeats the whole purpose as to why we started the company. So I completely agree with Olivier that we also have this one principle which we solely and so wholeheartedly follow at Breer, which is the triple bottom line, which is people, planet, and profit. We're a young company, so we definitely work for the people, we work for the planet, but we're a profitable company because without profit, there's no people and planet as well, right? So for us, we really focus on sustainability in everything which we do at this company, be it new flavors, be it, you know, be it conducting sustainability workshops for corporates in Hong Kong. We do for many corporates around Hong Kong because we want to not only be sustainable ourselves, but spread this to other companies in Hong Kong as well. And my pitch to a company like Swire Properties always is that sustainability doesn't need to be about carbon emissions or green bonds. It can also be fun, like beer, right? So might as well do that. So that is what we believe in sustainability. And to answer the last thing as to where we are, I think we're at the tipping point now. That if this is the time, if we don't take action collectively, then we're going to see catastrophic consequences. But we still have time to salvage things. We still have time to save things. So that is why we're doing forums like these, so that everyone can get involved in this mission.
I think you touched on where we are in Hong Kong, and I want to come back to that, but I just want to put one disclaimer out there. You talked about the young generation that you're targeting. I assume for the alcoholic beer, that's over 18s?
Yes.
But you have non-alcoholic beer for the under 18s now as well. Okay. So Olivier, Phoebe, coming back to you both, where do you think, maybe Olivier first, where do you think we are in Hong Kong now?
Sure, I can share different views. So I think we're not doing enough. So if I really share, I mean, maybe if I sense the room, do you believe that in Hong Kong we do enough on sustainability? Who think we do enough? Raise your hand. All right, so you got my answer. So probably, I think as an individual, we see that we start to hear from the government some news, maybe a bit not enough, you know, cutlery, plastic bags. Decisions are debatable. I always wonder why a city like Hong Kong is not fully EV, you know, electric vehicles. I mean, we have everything for that. I would say why we have, I live, you know, in Causeway Bay, why we have to suffer all the, you know, thermic buses, and it's like a nightmare and noisy and everything. So, and when you go to Greater Bay, when you go to Shenzhen, what is striking the mind is the sound. There is no sound. There is no car pollution as a noise, right? I don't say car is not polluting, but so there is so much that could be done as an individual. As corporate, for the last 18 months, we start to have conversations. You have organizations like Swires, not to be nice to Phoebe, but I think they are starting their journey. They do change, but it's too little. Are we doing enough? I mean, I was in Singapore last week. I mean, you can't talk about Hong Kong without comparing to Singapore. You have always to do the comparison. And if you want Hong Kong to change, probably you need to tell them what is happening in Singapore to make the policymakers changing. What they're doing in sustainability is amazing. I mean, I will talk later, but we had a project we did for the government where now in 1 minute, thanks to AI, you can have your ESG reports. They have like huge commitment for change. So slight change, and I believe that we can do more individually, pushing as well the policymakers to do more, and as well as corporates.
Awesome. And Phoebe, where do you think we are in Hong Kong?
I think right now in Hong Kong, like we love to partner with the government. Government regulations always help some of our sustainability agenda. Currently, of course, we don't see a lot of legislation. But I think as a real estate company, other than the government supporting us, we also have a lot of different pressures and demands from all sides of our business. For example, we have investors who are actually being more and more stringent about their ESG requirements, what we need to report to them, and they're looking at us and comparing us with our peers on how we're doing on ESG. So that actually gives our management team also a lot of impetus to think more in terms of sustainability. So in the real estate industry, I think the peer competition and comparison and mutual learning is a force for change in the industry. There's also the business bit, where I mentioned our tenants are demanding high quality green buildings and a supportive landlord. Nowadays, especially for the office market in Hong Kong and in the Chinese mainland, which is very competitive right now, like you will not get a grade A office tenant who does not come and ask you whether you have a certified green building and whether you have any reporting around your carbon emissions and your decarbonization plans, especially for European companies, because they're subject to all those regulations in Europe right now. So I think in Hong Kong, luckily, we still have a lot of external pressures from the people who are doing business here that's pushing us forward, at least for the real estate industry.
Okay. A quick check with each of you. On a scale of 1 to 10 in your own businesses, where do you think you are with sustainability? Maybe number
8.
8?
Yeah.
So still improvement to be made?
Still improvement to be made, especially towards the end of the beer making process, because right now when we make beer, there is the end residue which is left called brewer spent grain. So right now, most breweries in Hong Kong throw it away. We're still working with pig farms to donate that for livestock feed. However, we're working on a recipe with Hong Kong Science Park to actually take the spent grain from making the beer and convert it back into bread. So that will be one of the world's first only closed circular economy loops, where we start with bread, make beer, have the spent grain, and make bread again.
Oh, wow.
So that will be my
Amazing.
10 on 10 then. But logistics-wise, everything else, we're trying our best to be carbon neutral or negative, but we're still on 8 on 10. We still have, long miles to go.
Okay, Phoebe?
I was going to say 8, but now that because your business is really sustainability at the core. So I'll keep my answer as 8. But I think there's a lot of internal mindset that needs to change. I can give you an example. So we do a lot of leasing of our properties, right? And so the traditional way of leasing is, okay, I give you the space, you pay me the rent. That's the best thing, right? So after 3 years, your lease finish, and goodbye, or renew, So it's best that like there's nothing in the middle of the lease that will need to help you, or like there's no breaking pipes, there's no, any problems. That's the traditional kind of view of the landlord. But with sustainability, we have to change the mindset of all our portfolio management teams. Like, for example, the tenants move in. We have various programs and guidelines. You need to design a sustainable kitchen, a sustainable office, and then during your occupancy, we install various types of meters, and we have programs to measure, compete, benchmark, recognize. So that's a whole new way of doing property. So for us, we have to do a lot of internal training, capacity building, mindset changing. And that's why I would say 7, 8.
Okay, Olivier.
All right, I'll let you guess which score I put. I put an 8, so I felt that's not very original.
8 is the new
But it's a new 10. So I think 8 for us as well, in a sense that we make big strides into sustainability. I mentioned we have this objective. We have SBTI, which is a framework when you can commit for neutrality. So by 2030, you want to be net zero. I think it's really there. The conversation I have with the leadership of the company is how we reconcile our growth. What is the margin of the two to go to 10 is how we reconcile our growth. We plan to triple the size of our organization while you want to be net zero. And I'm not sure even myself or in the company or super clear what it means and how we do that. So I think that's why we started like this discussion, heated discussion into that of how we reconciled our growth business model, profit in a way with as well this objective, which is extremely interesting conversation, but not easy one. So I think it's a good one.
Okay, good to hear. Everyone's making progress, but needs to do more. So I want to move on to barriers to sustainability. Beyond some of the obvious ones like budget, which everyone brings up, what are the challenges that companies face in making sustainable transformations? And do AI and other tech solutions make this more attainable in the short to medium term? I don't know, whoever wants to go first can take that one.
AI.
All right, so I think I will go for the obstacles. I think as any change, is taking time. How you make sure that it's really spread all across the organization, and I think that's on every process, every thinking. So I think it takes time. It's not easy, and sometimes it goes to counter to what some of the employees and staff want. So we are regional. How we fly, how we see each other. So I think how to be humans and how you do that. So because we know that one of the largest, carbon emission is taking planes. Sorry for Cathay, but that's the reality of what it is. And so how we do that. So I think there is as well this discussion. So when it comes to tech, of course, that's our core business. I mean, we sell services using, so obviously we believe that it's making a change. So I will just make the statement that what gets measured can be managed. So typically for us, I was looking at the number, our objective for this year for our team in Hong Kong is 102 tons of CO2 equivalents. So if you're not familiar, it's like, so we know exactly what we do. And every quarter we have a measurement of all the actions, all the spend, everything we do is tracked. So either you do manually, but when you are a large organizations like a Swire, you can't do manually. Like it needs to be supported by tech. And in that thinking, tech is really making a beauty because it can really automate. I was mentioning Singapore. So we developed this fantastic platform. The ground launch will be in 2 weeks in a FinTech Festival in Singapore, so stay tuned. Government of Singapore will make an announcement. So we had the privilege to work with the government of Singapore to build this AI, even Gen AI platform. As any SME in Singapore and into the region, you're gonna share bills, any document you have, and in a minute, you're gonna have your ESG report, your carbon emission calculations, maybe not at the precise decimals, but good enough to be certified and to have access to financing. So I think that's what you can see as a change, and I think in the way to be more sustainable.
Awesome. Phoebe?
Yeah, I think apart from the data and the technology to achieve our sustainability goals, there are a couple of other challenges that I personally face or my team would face inside a big organization. Apart from the internal stakeholders, there's also a lot of value chain partners. So our upstream would be our suppliers in the market. And the most significant ones are the ones that are supplying materials for us to build a new building. So a story that I could tell is a few years ago, we started the construction for One Taikoo Place, and we have set up some targets around embodied carbon, which is the carbon we from the production of the concrete, steel, and also the construction process itself. At that time, there is no such availability of low carbon construction materials. It's such a new concept in Hong Kong. So we actually have to work very closely with a lot of our contractors and their suppliers to work out the specifications and also the data and accounting so that we can have a proper embodied carbon account for One Taikoo Place. But fast forward, now that we have stepped forward as the first developer to do that, now that we are building new buildings, say our most recent 6 Pacific Place, actually we were able to source 100% of certified low carbon concrete. So there's like the challenge, but as well as what you could do to be the kind of the first mover. There's the other challenge is with our tenants, right? They occupy our buildings. And you would think that, oh, they are a multinational, well-known company, and they have these big targets. They must want to collaborate with us. And the reality, from my experience, is always not the case because they have local teams, local admin teams, local people who have like less knowledge, awareness. They have other things to be busy about. They have like not enough resources. And so for us, we also find it quite challenging to find the right person, the right company to partner with. And that's why we're also providing a lot of capacity building, training, and programs so that to kind of fast track the onboarding of these tenants into our sustainability journey.
Super interesting. Naman, from your side, I'm guessing the challenges sometimes come when you try to work with other companies.
Bang on, yeah. I mean, the two main challenges are, as Phoebe said, value chain partners.
Yeah.
Because while we are sustainable, our box manufacturer doesn't want to be sustainable. They're still cardboard, right? So definitely that is a big challenge because you need to educate them as to what we're trying to do is different. And then obviously comes the high MOQs, the high prices of actually wanting to collaborate with them in order to make a sustainable product. So you really need partners which align with your vision. Like the logistics company we use in Hong Kong only use like electric trucks and things like that and electric vans because we want to be at least responsible for the deliveries we're making. We want a partner who understands what we're trying to do. And I think the another barrier is on the education of the customer because we want to sell to customers who are really wanting to make sustainable choices, but as customers, they will always have a choice whether I should buy this or not. Yes, this is $2 expensive. Should I buy this or not? Because then it's a price consideration. It's a taste consideration. So it is also, and it's not to do with cost. Like if it was a money problem to solve, we could have. This is really an education problem to solve, an intrinsic motivation problem to solve, that how do people get more intrinsically motivated? Like I was in Europe, like last summer, and I went to supermarkets and people themselves reject plastic bags. They're like, we don't want plastic bags. If this store has plastic bags, we won't shop here. But we don't have that kind of intrinsic motivation in Hong Kong yet. We are working towards it. I know education, governments are working towards it, but we still have a long way to go for that intrinsic motivation to come, for customers to actually want to go into stores and not buy products, but buy missions. That we're going into a store to buy a mission and not only a product.
Amazing. One of the things that has come up several times in this discussion is the challenge of people, whether it's Phoebe's tenants or your business partners or people you're working with. And I wonder how you guys feel, is enough importance being placed on team and culture generally, but also within your organizations? Because I feel like we've mentioned education, we've mentioned awareness. How do you guys feel about that? Maybe Phoebe first?
I think in a big company like ours, the sounding board would be the top management. So having the strategy, having the board of directors on board provides a very clear signal that this is something that's important to the company. But apart from the top management, my belief is everyone is a leader. So apart from the very senior management, we also have lateral connections within the company who are managers of different types of departments. And we need to discover these people and make them champions of sustainability because they know what they're doing in their day job. And our job is to help them to think about what they can do to advance the sustainability in the company. And then as a real estate and property management company, we also need the kind of bottom-up approach because we have a lot of frontline workers who are fixing the aircon every day and who are like managing the cleaning contractors. So these are also people that we need to engage. And so making it fun, like Naman said, is very critical. Like giving them ice cream for doing the right thing, or having some games and prizes, and providing them with some experience, like visiting a farm or visiting a
brewery.
Or a brewery. Yeah, that would be like that's something that makes people feel memorable and motivate them to do more at their work.
Awesome. Olivier, from your perspective?
So sometimes we say that culture is eating strategy at the breakfast. So I think culture will be at the core. I mean, you can come with a strategy, but if it's not rooted, and if it's not coming with a purpose, meaning people understand why we do that, I think it's not changing. So, like I said, we have make it very explicit the purpose why we want to do that. We train people as well for them to understand what is at stake. When we talk of climate change, sometimes even people continue to call of global warming, right? So it's not global warming, it's climate change. I mean, and as a whole, so I think there is a lot of work as well to work with the clients, to help them transform, to think a bit more sustainability in their work. It's very, very important as well. And to make it fun. Because if you only come with, incentive, KPI, punitions. I mean, we are humans. Do you want to change if we only have the stick? So we have gamified a lot of it. So we have lots of young generation as well. For them, is immediate, but they love to play around that. So there is a lot of. We have a platform called Vendredi, which is for French people, it means Friday. And any staff can create a challenge, a task on it, and everyone can contribute. And then we have as well nudging every week, every month, where you reward people to take action. So it could be donating clothes, it could be turning off the lights, small stuff, it could be big stuff. So anyway, we just want people to keep that top of mind in what we do, and they feel that they have a purpose and they make a change. So I think that's part of this culture piece.
Okay, thank you. Naman?
Yeah, I think similar to what I said in my last answer as well, what we really focus on is education. So when someone comes into the organization, we try to give them, say, online course credits for them to do sustainability education, for them to really get to know about what is happening and what is wrong and how can we really solve it. And then we really have this onboarding, which we actually do for corporates as well, where most of the people don't even know what the challenge is. Yes, we know there is climate change, but do we know the numbers? Do we know the intensity of that? Do we know that Hong Kong is, for a population of 7.5 million people, we're wasting 4,000 tons of food every day? But we need to tell this to people because that is where the sensitization of people happens, because right now when the problem is not in front of you, you're not bothered because the problem is not material to you.
Yeah.
So What we try to do internally for our company is we try to make the problem material. We try to make sure that they're aware as to what is why are we running this company, what problem are we trying to solve, and then obviously telling them ways as to how we can solve it, enabling them, whatever sustainability thing they want to do, right? Be it sustainable cups, be it any sustainable initiative they want to take in the company, we're all ears because that is their initiative after the education of being more sustainable. And that is not what we do internally, but with like big corporates like JP Morgan, Sino, Swire Properties, that we really go in and try to tell them that, we need to get these numbers out. We get to get this education out for more people to be sensitized about it.
So looking forward, do you guys see trends emerging, particularly in the AI and tech front, that could accelerate sustainability transformations for you or for others in Hong Kong? I'll go to Olivier first because this is something that you're focused on.
I mean, today we see that the new form of AI, the Gen AI, is really helping us to make a change. So I can give you two examples. The first one is when we had the first version of ChatGPT, like almost 3 years ago, we had the team very dedicated, and they said, okay, can we use that technology to make a change for climate? And basically what we did, purely pro bono, we created a tool, we call that the Climate GPT. It's called Climate Q&A. So basically, there is this group of experts called the IPCC. All the scientists that publish, reports. They group all the scientific research on climate change. But it comes as a document of 10,000 pages. The least you can have is 100 pages. As a human, it's quite difficult, right, having to ingest all of this. So we said, all right, it's a pure beauty. We know ChatGPT is made of ingesting a lot of data and asking very simple questions and getting the answers. So we created a tool. It's called Climate Q&A. So if you Google, you can find that. And along the way, so that's how Gen AI, generative AI and ChatGPT was quite interesting. So you can ask questions on that. But we wanted as well to counter, one item, which was basically, actually there was two items. So where is it coming from? Because when you use ChatGPT, it gives you an answer, but you don't know exactly where it's coming from. So what we did, we just created another tool within the tool to make sure that you can source your answers. So basically, when you say, what is the climate change impact for Hong Kong, it's going to point to you all the 10 or 15 papers of all the researchers. So if you say, I don't believe it, then if you don't believe in science, it's your problem. But then you can't, come with fake news. You can't come with say, it's not true. So really index that. So on the broader standpoint, AI and Gen AI will be a good accelerator. Like I said, when you are working as an organization, even like an SME, you've got your supplier, you've got data all over the place. And I think today it's tools that really can accelerate. So put together the data. When you have a reporting in Europe, it's mandatory, but it's coming as well in Asia. It can help really to create the report. As much as you want to create a text, when you use ChatGPT, you can use that for sustainability, which is quite nice. So I think we see more and more people embracing that, and I think it's really nice tools. I believe so.
Yeah,
Phoebe,
I would.
How are you guys leaning into this in terms of tech and AI?
Yeah, just echoing what Olivier mentioned, I think I would love a solution that can use AI to help me write my ESG report. But yeah, I think in terms of other aspects that we are implementing, we do use AI technology or machine learning to optimize our buildings. So say how to sequence our chiller system in our buildings. So we do have a smart energy management platform to facilitate that. And with a lot of inputs of academics and scientists to help us to create the right formulas and models to predict the cooling load in the upcoming 24 hours. But apart from that, we use a lot of big data solutions for, say, climate risk assessments, assessing our nature exposure, as well as tracking like the latest legislations that are coming to play. Like these are actually very important tools for us because the landscape is changing and we have a lot of reporting requirements, especially around our risks and opportunities. And then I think the third aspect would be how we package data, because it's easy to obtain data these days. How to package the data in a way that actually can gamify the experience for the people who are viewing it. So we are partnering with some, we have partnered with a company called Spirit, and I think they also work at Banyan Workplace. So they are one of our partners where they collect waste data from our tenants' premises, kind of visualize it in a way that's easily digestible so that our tenants can actually create actionable insights from those data.
Okay. Naman, quick answer because we've
Yes,
a little short
I
on
think
time.
we're more on the tech side, and I would say a recipe is also technology. And what we really try to do is obviously try to come up with innovative recipes in a way that, you know, our products can be more sustainable. We can use as many resources as possible in terms of food and, you know, food waste. So we started with bread, but now some of our beers use coffee grounds, some of our beers use fruit peels, some of our beers use different types of bread like egg waffle, egg tart, and, you know, so many other different types of starch sources as well. And I think in Hong Kong, there are startups which are utilizing technology to solve the food waste problem, like Chomp. I know Carla was somewhere here as well, but building an app to combat food waste. So many other companies trying to do the same thing. So while there is an AI application, there is also, I think, need of technology for us to be able to combat the food waste problem as well.
Awesome. Phoebe, I had a question for you. From my perspective, quite often some of the most innovative and disruptive solutions come from startups who are really
Right.
focused on the problem and spend all their time, energy, funding, trying to figure out how to solve some of these big issues. It's often difficult for a startup to come and approach someone like Swire. It's a bit daunting. They don't know what to say to you guys. They don't know how to pitch the solution. As we're part of the Start Me Up Festival, what advice would you have for a startup with an innovative, disruptive solution to pitch to a big corporate
I really
like Swire?
love this question because I have personally brought in different startups into the company. And I think a couple of insights. The first is the startup need to come to understand our need first. Because we have a lot of people pitching solutions that does not actually fit our actual need. And I think the second point is that we'll keep trying because the big organization, there are various different kinds of people, and you find one person who seems to be the right person, but not the right person, but there are millions of other people in this company who might help you to bring this change. So don't stop at one person, try to talk to multiple people. And I think another advice is that for a big company, there are a lot of internal battles, internal stakeholders. So if you pitch to, say, one person, this person has to report to 10 different people and get their approvals. So please understand and appreciate that it's not an easy job for the person who is relaying the message. So it's important to have a good storytelling. And I think another point that I would have is there are many different, hold on, I have one more important point. For a big company, looking for a startup to collaborate, there's one big concern is whether this company is actually a financially sustainable and stable company, because they have so many stakeholders internally and externally, say our tenants, right? We introduce a solution and we cannot say 3 months later, this company got broke and there's no customer service. And it's also a big risk for us. And so when we have companies coming to pitch for us, we also would like to understand the profile of the company, the character of the founders and the working team, and whether they can give us confidence to provide a professional service delivery.
Yeah, trust
So-
me, the due diligence is tough.
So
Been
do
there,
you have
done
any
that.
experience to share?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't want to be like, but we worked with Swire last year for the Tong Chong Street Market when they did a craft beer festival, and as Phoebe said, her first point is spot on that we really need to create a value which the startup today does not have. For example, they were looking to really market their rooftop farms, which Swire has been able to build. And what we were able to do is take our recipe, take our process, but collect pandan leaves from their rooftop farm and then use those pandan leaves to make a pandan beer for the craft beer festival. And I think that was distributed to many tenants in the Swire properties as well, right? So we were able to solve a genuine problem which they have. But again, it has to be driven by proper due diligence. Like there was a full due diligence form which we had to fill, and the process took like 6 months, like back and forth. As she said, one marketing member goes to another, and Breer in a way is all we're doing is working with companies and trying to enable them for sustainability, be it Maxims, be it now 7-Eleven, be it Swire, be it Pizza Hut, be it Mercedes-Benz, be it Cathay Pacific. And it's the same process again and again, that the due diligence will be long, but we need to be able to create value for them. So when we go and pitch to them, the proposition is clear. When we go to Cathay, we say like, oh, you have flights and there are those buns which are left in the flights. Can we use those specific buns and make beer out of it? So you need to go and pitch for solutions which they already don't have, and how will they benefit out of it? How will they get a marketing value out of it? We provide them all the data. How much CO2 did you save? How much bread did you save? So that is what we do in working with corporates.
Awesome.
But yes, tough due diligence.
Very, very interesting and insightful. So guys, maybe to Olivier first. Are you optimistic that we're not just running around in circles and we're moving closer towards a circular economy?
I'm born optimistic. So I think if we're not optimistic, I don't think we make a change. So I really see change. I mean, we're committed as well to make a change. So are we getting closer to circularity? We're moving a bit. I'm not sure in Hong Kong we are really right there, but I think there is organizations that are really committed and we are part of it. So I think I want to stay optimistic, and I am. So to see for the better goods. I think we want to do more. We want to give more as well. So that's our job. So yes, optimistic.
Phoebe?
I'm optimistic, but I think we still have a long way to go because we always want to search for closed-the-loop products within Hong Kong, but we need kind of more information, more awareness, and sometimes even change our corporate system. An example is we recently did a trial to recycle our hand towel into new hand towels. And we discovered so many challenges along the way, from how to collect the hand towels from the toilets, to actually the product itself, can we actually use it in our portfolios? And in the process, we learned so much about all the requirements that we have internally, and the procurement process. So I think there's a lot of education and change management on top of the innovation that needs to happen.
Yeah, definitely optimistic. The fact that we have over 50 people listening to us today, and the fact that we are running this company is motivation that we want to build something where we can motivate other people to become sustainable as well. Hong Kong is moving in the right direction, so is the world, where we're moving towards more sustainable practices. And it definitely has to be millennials, Gen Zs, people of my generation pushing this movement or like accelerating this movement, because it is we who will face the wrath if it doesn't get corrected, right? So I have firm faith in people of my generation that we will definitely push it forward.
Okay. So final questions to you guys. What is one wish you have for your organization in 2025? And what is one piece of advice that you would give to people who are on this journey, but maybe struggling a little bit?
I can share first. Maybe one answer for your two questions. I think innovation is absolutely necessary. As I mentioned, like I brought in a few startups to Swire Properties during my work here. And And I feel very fortunate because my company and my management actually allow me to introduce new concepts and have an innovative spirit. And so I think I would advise companies and other people who are managing companies and people to really help to cultivate that innovation, especially like Naman said, like the Gen Zs and millennials, which a lot of people want to find value and meaning at work. Yeah, so creating an environment for that will help to boost innovation, and that would eventually help us to build a more sustainable world.
I love that answer. Olivier?
For us, we want to have more impact on sustainability, so work more with clients. So today, I think 10% of our services are into sustainability, AI for sustainability. So my wish is to times 2 to demultiply the impact we can have. So that's what I'm striving for 2025, to have more support with clients, more transformation, more change for a greater good. So that's my wish.
Awesome. Naman?
For us, I think it's extending the impact beyond Hong Kong. We have already started the journey of expanding to other markets, Singapore and India, and we hope to establish a presence in both these markets in 2025. I would have said 7-Eleven, but we were able to accelerate there and get that within 2024 itself. So that, and I think my advice, which I always say to anyone, especially because I speak to a lot of young entrepreneurs, is our mind is a graveyard of ideas. We have a lot of ideas, but we don't have the motivation to start it. But my answer to is just do it. Like it will always teach you so much. And if it succeeds, it will get to a point where a university student starting from a dorm room is sitting on the stage and talking to so many people.
Yeah. Guys, from my side, what I wanted to say is it's incredible to have so much passion and resilience amongst you guys for the subject matter and for what you're doing. Thank you for being here today. Thank you to all of you for joining us. I don't know if we have time, but maybe 1 or 2 questions if anyone has one. One over there.
Of the tool, it's called Climate Q&A, like question answer. Climate Q&A. Climate.
Climate Q&A.
Q&A. Sorry, bear with my French accent. So this one, I'm doing my best. 10 years in Hong Kong, but still rubbish. So it's like climate. All right, so you can play around, and there is a nice feature. You can toggle, and you can say, "Oh, I'm a kid." Even you bring your kids on the platform, and it comes with very short answer. So you can select who you are. So am I a kid, so I need something simple, because if you come with the experts, I mean it's a nightmare. If you're a researcher, you want more 10 pages because you are a PhD, you need that. So you can toggle of the length, and it's multi-language as well. So you're English speaker, so it's in pretty much any language actually. So I think it's again, we want to give access to this information so people can know better.
One more if anyone has one, otherwise we'll call it. So let me just repeat the question. You said that Singapore have the Smart Cities Initiative, and that's doing a lot of good things in Singapore. What is Hong Kong lacking?
But I give my perspective of it. So I think it's vision and commitment. I had the discussion with Rasheed. I think for Singapore and Hong Kong is comparable in size in a way. It's like, of course, it's not exactly the same size, but just a question of vision. I think Singapore as head of sustainability part of the government, there is someone, a minister, leading climate change and transformation. So I think just a question of commitment, it's a question of incentives. I don't know if you read the news, but now in Singapore, any listed organization has to go for disclosure and calculation. So I think it's just people with courage and vision. And I mean, if there is any lawmakery, I think it's what we lack in Hong Kong today. To change, we have everything. We have higher education, great infrastructure, financing. I'm still amazed of no change. So I think I'm optimistic. I sometimes say why we're not doing more in this city where we've got all the ingredients. So I think that's my piece of advice and opinion.
All right, brilliant. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules. Guys, can we have a round of applause for the panelists? Thank you.